A podcast of one's own, challenging the status quo, keeping feminist discourse in the limelight, striving for gender equality. So hello everyone and welcome to episode 7 of a podcast of one's own, and this week we've got an especially important guest. We have my granny. Hi Gran.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome.
We're cozy comfy, we've got the fire on, I've got my hot water bottle, we've got our jammies on and a cup of tea, and we're just going to sit down and have a chat about how they've changed throughout your life and how much you think maybe women's roles and men's roles have both changed since you were my age.
Since I was your age? Well, I just remember going back. I was born in 1941. And in the days, the women did not work. The men worked, but widows were able to work because they had no income coming in. There was no income, no family allowance or anything like that. In these days, the widow had to work to feed and clothe her family, keep a roof over their head. There was no benefits. But then the women's role was just to be in the home, to make the food, look after the children. So that's how it was when I was a child. Your mother was there up until I think I was about 12, going to secondary school, and round about then, women were starting to go out to work.
What did people think about the mothers that were going to work?
Well, a lot of people disapproved about mothers, the ones that went to work, but I think mainly the would-be widows that worked. And but now in your day and age, most parents work.
Do you think that either a man or a woman or a mum or a dad could stay home to look after the kids?
Well, I think mum and dad could nowadays, but I didn't think that many years ago. That there's a lot of fathers stay home now. Depending on the income, sometimes the woman's on a higher salary than the man. So I'm quite for it, for the women working and the man looking after the children.
The only thing is, so at the moment in the UK, dads can't get any leave, like paternity leave, so they can get 2 weeks paid paternity leave, or they can take the wife's paternity leave. So for the dad to stay at home, the mum would have to gift the paternity leave to the dad.
Oh.
Whereas, I think that they should be equal and that they should both be able to take the same amount of time out of work.
No, I think you're right enough. They both, even taking it in turn, well, not really, because the woman...
well, there's the practicalities of breastfeeding. Initially,
that's right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, the mother could be breastfeeding even up to a year, and well, it certainly wouldn't work at all.
No,
if you think about it that way.
Yeah.
Unless the milk was expressed for the.
Yeah, we've got machines
baby.
for that nowadays.
Yeah.
And so I remember you saying that even great granny didn't think you should be working when you were married.
She disapproved of it. I asked her. When I was married, and had 3 children. I had actually said to asked my mother if she would look after the children for me, to let me work, and she was absolutely shocked. She says, no. Your place is to be looking after your children. That's how it was in my day. In her day, she thought it was disgraceful that I had a man's wage coming in. That we should be able to manage on that, and just be sensible, with what money was coming in. And there should be no need for me to work. My place was at home with my children, and never to ask her again. She would look after my children if I had a special occasion. If there was a special occasion, yes, but certainly not to let me work. She disapproved of me working.
Yeah, it's changed so much. Did you find it difficult? Well, with our generation, we're a big family. Did you find it difficult initially that our gender roles were so different, like not getting married young, or maybe having a lot of different partners and girlfriends and boyfriends?
Well, see, I personally agree with the boyfriend-girlfriend thing, to be changing and have all different boyfriends, but I don't believe in them having a relationship until they're ready to marry and settle.
Yeah. So like courting.
Courting,
Yeah. Yes.
But I do agree, what I do agree with is that I did marry young. I met my husband at 17 and I married at coming up for 20, and I never had a lot of boyfriends, so if my time all over again, I would like to have gone out and travelled and maybe dated with other boyfriends, because he was the only first real boyfriend, and I wish I had dated quite a few fellows before I settled down with him. And he wasn't too bad before we got married, but he was very domineering. And
yeah, because the traditional idea of what a husband and wife was, the roles were very specific, weren't they? That
That's
a woman
right.
was supposed to cook and clean. And
the women's place, he said, women's place is in the house, and the man's place is to go out and work.
And so how do you think now that the relationship between men and women have changed?
I think women are a bit more sensible. They do. They kind of date quite a number of men nowadays. Boys or men, and they get to know them really well. And
I think you get to know yourself.
Because what
as well.
happened in my time, when you married, when I got married, when you got married, it's 1962, and when you met someone you married, that was you were to be married for life. But I would have been fine maybe if I'd continued dating for a few years, but I was just too young to be married and settled. And that was it. Still wanted to feel I could go out with friends, but that was all over. I was expecting my daughter, maybe 7 months after I was married, and that's one of the reasons that I got married. And when you became pregnant, that was you for life, your family, and you were kind of a disgrace in the days to the family.
How?
Yeah. If you had a child before you married, before you married, or if you were pregnant during marriage, you were a disgrace to the family. That was how it was. And anyone that married, being married was fine. You were accepted into the family if you married that person. You wouldn't dream, like nowadays. I do agree with girls not marrying, becoming pregnant and not marrying, not being forced into, not feeling they had to marry the person out of respect for the family, because you were looked down upon. So that's how it was in the days. We're talking about back in 1960s.
Sounds scary.
And that was you were married for life. Or lots of people in my age group became pregnant, and maybe it's been the only boyfriend they've had, and they've had to marry that person. Or they became pregnant and then maybe never married them, but they had to leave home and have this child and have it adopted.
So have the child in secret.
In secret.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what did happen.
And
I've known the people that it happened to, and it's very sad, because one person that I knew, she confided in my sister, and she was pregnant, but she let her father know quietly, and he says she would need to leave go away into an unmarried mother's home. That it'd be far too much for her mother to cope with.
So there was places like homes for unmarried
I
women
think
with
she
single
went to
children?
Glasgow, an unmarried mother's home in Glasgow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And she did have a son, and that was the end of that. The child was taken from her. And she's met him in later years. Unfortunately, the partner that she never settled with, but she had to go away and have the baby. And later years, she met another man, and her son found her, and she never couldn't have a family to the other man. So her one and only son
Was given away.
taken away. He was taken away from her, and he ended up in America. And he came to visit her in Edinburgh.
They managed to
And
build
he
a
found-
relationship. Or
Yeah.
that's just heartbreaking. And that's really, it's not even that long ago if you think about how quickly the society's changed.
That's
Because
right.
that just seems so barbaric and heartbreaking now to me in the reality that I live in. But to think that within your lifetime you've seen how much society's changed.
And it's changed for the better. That well, I remember thinking years later, girls that became pregnant, and two I advised that marry the fellow if you want to, but you know, it's a big commitment to make that commitment. It's a big commitment to do, to go and settle with the person. And I don't believe you should have to have the child adopted.
That's devastating. Oh, just because people thought that it wasn't right for a woman to have sex out of wedlock, essentially.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like a big disgrace for a woman to have sex out of wedlock. And it's a natural thing for men and women.
Yeah, and would the same thing happen? The same thing wouldn't happen to men, though, if it was found out that they were having sex outside of wedlock.
That's
It
right.
wouldn't be the same shame.
There was
and
no
disgrace.
shame at all to the men. So the men were treated with respect and dignity, and the women were treated badly.
Yeah, and you can still see that in society today, even though it's not as extreme, that men are applauded for having more sexual partners, but a woman would still be called all these horrible names.
That's right.
And will be shamed for doing that. So there's still little remnants of that left, which is found in shaming women essentially for enjoying having sex. So do you think the idea of what it means to be a man or the idea of what it means to be a woman has changed, along with the roles
I think
in
it
the home?
has changed. The roles have changed. Women wouldn't be prepared. Are not prepared to put up with them. Men's attitude towards them. Trying to think of that word.
Yeah, trying not to swear. Yeah, and I think before the ideas that men are strong and powerful, and again we do see a lot of that now, that men are strong and powerful and tough, but also women can be considered those things now too. And also now it's okay for men to be emotional and loving and caring and open about their feelings.
Men were never open about their feelings, and they would never cry. They would never show any. It was wrong. It wasn't manly to become upset and to cry about anything. It wasn't the done thing.
Yeah. So we've got a word or like a phrase that's been coined called toxic masculinity, and that refers to ways that these traditional ideas of masculinity are harmful towards men, and that's it. So men feeling like they're unable to share their emotions, or men feeling like they're that they have to have lots of sexual partners, or that they have to be powerful and aggressive and angry, and that they have to fit into these traditional ideals, and that can be really damaging for their mental health. So the number one leading cause for death for men over, I want to say 30, is suicides.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And so there's a lot of like
Because
mental
there's a
health
lot of
charities
pressure on men.
now.
And men, I think men seem to have changed now towards women.
Yeah.
Although there are still the dominant male.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work to do. Which is why the Gender Equality Society is so important, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, I'm really into that. I really believe in the Gender Equality Society nowadays.
Thank you.
Yes.
We're doing very well, aren't we?
Definitely.
Well, we are Society of the Year, so...
Good one.
And so...
So, women seem to me to be a bit more powerful. Well, there definitely are to the days gone by.
Well, they're allowed
women
to be...
are allowed to speak up for themselves nowadays, where women were very timid and frightened to speak up for their rights. And so I do believe the women of today, I'm proud of the women of today, actually.
Good, me too. Yeah.
Looking after their...
I think supporting other women and supporting your own true core values without feeling you have to behave a certain way or
now
put other people before yourself.
Women just behave the way they're now more in control of their lives, and which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Men control the women. That's definite.
So we're breaking free from the patriarchal structures, and now it's really exciting to be redefining what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man, and the roles that we play. Or we don't even have to play roles, just to express yourself freely.
A lot of men and women are more equal now. You know, there's that equality now. So women, it's great to see that they have moved on in society.
It is.
Oh, I think the women's activists, they did play a huge role. Oh, in many ways. Women started to do marches and to stand up for themselves.
And being vocal and protesting is so important.
They were very vocal, and they let their needs be known to society, not just to men but to society, that their needs were never always fulfilled.
I do think now that we've levelled the playing field a little bit, we can look into things which would have seemed so far-fetched.
Aye, so far-fetched.
Whereas
you'd never dream that you would be what you are today, that women are where they are today. I mean, very few women went out to work.
And now instead of women not being in the workforce, now we're fighting for equal pay. And,
that's right.
Workplaces free from harassment. And so it's just all these take the victories as they come and keep on progressing.
I know when I worked for the council, I was one of the people, we fought for equal pay, and I did get equal pay in the end. The men were earning a lot more than us doing the same job.
Amazing.
And I ended up fighting for our rights and did get equal pay.
Good.
Got a sum of money back.
Yeah, because it just seems so surreal.
I know.
It is so surreal.
Yeah.
Well,
just women fight for their rights now, and I'm really proud of them.
And it must be really exciting to get to see how quickly things have progressed and changed.
I know. I'm delighted that things have changed.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it go even further. Thank you for sharing everything with me, Granny. I think we can wrap it up there. And we can go back to our...
Very welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. We can go back to our cuppas and our hot water bottles. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks,
you.
Nicole. Welcome.